Welcome to the Real Life Wellness Podcast, the show where we explore how to create your own wellness. We dive into everything that happens on the journey to a happier, healthier, and more balanced life. I'm your host, Faith Lauterbach. As a registered nurse and a holistic wellness coach, I have a passion for empowering people to create a vision for their life, prioritize themselves, and then live the life they want. So get ready to discover new ways to nourish your body, mind, and spirit. Let's embark on this journey together and make wellness simple. Hello, and welcome back to the Real Life Wellness Podcast. My name is Faith, and I'm your host. And today is a topic that I am super passionate about. For episode 6, we are going to be talking about how to set holistic goals. It's something I do with each one of my clients in great depth, and today I want to give you an overview of what that looks like. I'm sure that you've heard the term holistic before, but I want to dive into what it means when I'm talking about it and why it's important, and then how it can help you in all aspects of your life. So all of the parts that make up each of us is connected. So if one of them is off balance, it affects the other ones. I'll give you a quick example of that. Let's say you have a challenging situation at work. That challenging situation at work doesn't just affect your work life. You bring that home. It affects your stress levels with your spouse and your kids, and it could cause you to be more irritable with them. It can affect how you're eating and drinking. So maybe you're eating more junk food, going through the fast food line because it just feels easier. Maybe you're drinking more alcohol or more caffeine and not having time to do your workouts or go on walks. It can make you feel frustrated and really shift to a more negative mindset. So holistic health is important because it allows us to explore our health in a way that empowers us to achieve our greatest state of wellness. From my perspective, holistic health has 8 different areas of our health. So I'll go over what each of them are, and then we're going to go in depth to each one and talk about what it is and then what makes up each piece. So we have our physical, emotional and mental, social, intellectual, spiritual, environmental, financial, and occupational. Let's start with our physical health. So for number 1, our physical health. This is where a lot of people automatically go to when they think about health. It's really how our body functions. So here are some things that impact our physical health. Number 1 is nutrition. So what are we eating? Are we eating whole foods? Are we eating nutrient-dense foods? Or are we eating more processed foods that are more caloric dense? Number 2, rest. How are we resting and restoring our body? Number 3 is sleep. So the quantity and quality of sleep. How much sleep are you getting, and are you staying asleep? Are you getting solid sleep? Or do you have a newborn that wakes up often? Are you a light sleeper? Are you not sleeping through the night for whatever reason? Number 3 are genetics. Genetics can predispose us to certain conditions. Number 4 is family habits. And I feel like these two, genetics and family habits, can sometimes get a little cloudy on which is which. But family habits are, for example, if you grew up in a family that didn't eat vegetables, didn't prioritize movement, then it's likely that those areas could be challenging to establish as an adult. Number 5 is access to healthcare. If you are unable to see medical providers like a dentist, an eye doctor, regular family practice doctor, compared to other people who are able to access care when needed, that is going to impact your physical health. Number 6 are modalities like massage, chiropractic, acupuncture. And for some people, these types of services provide huge benefit to their physical health. Number 7 is exercise and movement. There's a direct link to our health and how we move our body. Number 8, flexibility. If this is a difficult area for you, it can cause other problems in your health like injuries, pain, and soreness. Number 9 is walking. How many steps are you getting in a day? Number 10 is hydration. How much water are you drinking? This ties into even our hunger and proper body functioning. Substance use. So this is caffeine, alcohol, cigarettes, other drugs. If you aren't sleeping at night, for example, you may be drinking more caffeine during the day, which is causing an increase in your anxiety. Number 12, personal hygiene. If you are not able to care for those basic needs, it really impacts the other areas of your health. All right, now we're going to move on to emotional and mental health. So this is how we understand, express, and process emotions, our mindset, and then how we manage stress. Things that impact our emotional health are the following. Number 1, self-talk. Do we say kind things to ourselves, or are we hard on ourselves? Number 2, how do we express our feelings? How do we communicate and convey our emotions, thoughts, and sentiments to others? Number 3 is how we regulate our emotions. So strategies and actions that we use to manage, control, or modify these emotional responses. Things like deep breathing, creative outlets, humor, going on walks, etc. Number 4 is how we process our emotions. So this includes being aware of our emotions, identifying the causes, and then understanding the associated thoughts and feelings. This can be done through things like journaling and therapy. Number 5 is fresh air and sunshine. We know that this greatly impacts our health. If it's dark and dreary all the time, it's very common to just feel down. Number 6 is asking for help. Can you ask for help when you need it? I personally used to struggle with this a lot, and it's still a work in progress for me. But waiting until things are so out of control before asking for help is a really hard way to live. It also brings up feelings of resentment to others in our life. Number 7 is resilience. This is our ability to adapt, bounce back, and recover from challenges, adversity, or stress. It is also about learning and growing from our experiences. Number 8 is our gratitude practice. Number 9 is therapy and healing. If there's things from our past that we really need to heal and process through, this can be a big part of our emotional and mental health. Number 10 is journaling. Journaling can be a really great way to release and process emotions. Number 11 is our coping skills. What is our go-to when we are stressed? That can impact our emotional and mental health greatly. Number 12 is practicing forgiveness for ourselves and others. All right, and we're going to move on to our social health, which is our relationships and support systems, how we build and maintain connections with others, our social interactions, and our sense of community. So some things that can impact our social health are our social support. So number 1 is our social support. Do you have people in your life that you can turn to in difficult times? And are there people that are cheering you on? Number 2 is communication skills. Are you able to effectively communicate with others in your life? Number 4 is relationships, both romantic and friendships. Number 5 is conflict resolution. How do you address and resolve conflict in different areas of your life? Number 6 is cultural competence. So ability to understand, respect, and effectively interact with people from diverse cultural backgrounds. It involves being aware of and sensitive to the cultural differences that exist. Number 7 is peer influence. If the people that you are around are engaging in unhealthy behaviors, it is more likely that you will too. This covers a lot of area. Like if you're hanging out with people or surrounding yourself with people who are gossiping and complaining, it's more likely that you are going to engage in those behaviors as well. Number 8 is loneliness and isolation. This can have a big impact on our health. Number 9 is social media use. If we do this mindlessly to zone out, it can increase anxiety and make it so we don't get things done that are important to us. Number 10 is our comfort zone. Are you stuck here? Does it keep you from doing what you want to do, or are you willing to grow it and stretch it? Number 11 is community involvement. Are you involved in the things in your community that are important to you? Number 12 is personality. So our general personality affects the way we move through social situations and affects all of these other aspects in our social health. Okay, spiritual health. This involves finding meaning and purpose in life. It doesn't necessarily have to be tied to religion, but may include practices that provide a sense of connection to something greater than ourselves. So some things that can impact our spiritual health are, number 1, self-reflection, the process of examining and contemplating one's thoughts, feelings, and actions. It really involves introspection and a thoughtful analysis of ourselves. Number 2 is connection to nature. Many people feel a deep connection here. It can create feelings of awe and wonder, mindfulness, and really presence. It can be very renewing and healing. Number 3 is mindfulness. So things like prayer, meditation, breath. Number 4 is cultural and religious practices. Number 5 are our beliefs and values. Number 6 is our compassion and service. Number 7 is yoga, which can be very spiritual for people. Number 8 is a feeling of peace, being able to find peace in your life. Number 9 is a gratitude practice. Number 10 is finding meaning and purpose in your life. Do you have a sense of meaning and purpose? And then number 11 is how you cope with challenges. Next is our intellectual health. This is seeking knowledge and engaging in lifelong learning. This can involve pursuing hobbies, staying curious, and maintaining mental stimulation. So some things that can impact our intellectual health are number 1, critical thinking, number 2, creativity, number 3, openness to learn, number 4, growth mindset versus fixed mindset, number 5, curiosity, number 6, formal education, number 7, non-formal education. So that can be e-courses, workshops, podcasts like what you're doing right now, and books. Number 8 is your job and career, and number 9 are your hobbies. And then number 10, which I almost forgot, it is mental stimulation. So that is things like crossword puzzles, Wordle, anything that's going to engage your mind into thinking. Next up is environmental health. So that is being aware of and taking care of your environment around you. So your home, your neighborhood, your yard, even how you take care of the planet. Some things that can impact our environmental health are, number 1, our air and water quality. Number 2, clutter. Number 3, access to outside. Number 4, atmosphere in our home. Is it tense? Are there big emotions? Or is it a peaceful place to be? Number 5, our safety. Number 6, city versus country. Number 7, proximity to stores. Can you easily access healthy options? Number 8 is our comfort levels. Is your home a place of rest for you? And number 9 is our environmental impact. Our financial health. So this is not determined by how much money you make, but by how you manage and plan your finances, and if what you are spending your money on reflects your values. Some things that can impact this area of our health are, number 1, our income. Number 2, mindful spending. Number 3, financial planning. Number 4, money management. Number 5, budget. Number 6, financial evaluation. Number 7, financial awareness. Number 8 is savings and investments. Number 9 is our debt management. And number 10 is our estate planning. All right, then our last area of health is our occupational health. What you do for your work or daily activities. What is the balance between professional and personal life? Does your career or activities align with your values and possessions? Some things that can impact our occupational health are, number 1, the structure of your day. Do you have to be at work at 6 a.m.? Is it flexible? Is it rigid? Are you able to work from home? Things like that. Number 2 is goal planning. What are your goals with your job? Number 3 is advancement opportunities. Number 4 is work culture. We spend a lot of time at work, and if the culture does not match your values, this is very draining. Number 5, boundaries. What do these look like in your work environment? Are you able to say no? Do you take breaks? Do you take your vacation time? Lunch breaks? Do you delegate tasks as indicated? Number 6, is your job sedentary? Are you sitting a lot? Or are you able to get up and move around? Number 7, your support from your coworkers. Number 8, do you take time to evaluate your job? Number 9 is networking opportunities. And then number 10, work-life balance. I know that was a lot of information, and this would be an episode I would recommend going back and listening to again and taking notes, writing down some of those things that stood out to you that you feel drawn to, and using that information as you create these holistic goals. I want to talk a little bit about clarity before we dive into goal setting. So clarity is really necessary in order for us to get from where we are now to where we want to be. So for example, if you went to a ticket counter at an airport and said that you want to go somewhere better, you wouldn't be able to buy a plane ticket to that place. You would need to know the specifics. You would need to know the city. You would need to know where you're going to stay when you get there. What time does your plane take off? All of those things. It is the same way with our goals. I hear all the time, I just want my life to be better. I just want to be happy. I just want it to be different. It's really hard to get there with that as the definition. So we need to define what it means. We need to get into the details. When we clarify what we want, it helps us to set real goals and then actionable steps to make those changes. So let's do that. Let's get into the details. What areas of your holistic health feel the most important to you right now? So those 8 that I went over, where do you feel like you're being drawn to or pulled to? I would invite you to pick 1 to 3 areas to focus on first. Okay, so let's get clear. I'm going to first explain this process and then I'll give you a few examples. So I want you to bring to mind which area of holistic health you're going to focus on. We are then going to come up with an overall goal and then build intentional actions that support that area of health. We're going to make it a priority by giving it a what, when, and a where. And then we're going to talk about different ways to make it simple. So our first example, I'm going to talk about the area of holistic health for emotional and mental. And then moving on to that overall goal, the way I like to build this is not by making that overall goal an action step. That overall goal for emotional and mental health for this example is I am peaceful and calm. Then we're going to look at intentional actions that support that area of health. And I want to focus on 1 intentional action at a time. So for this example, that intentional action is going to be meditating. I'm going to make it a priority in my life by giving it a what, when, and where. So that would look like I meditate for 5 minutes using Insight Timer app every morning after I get my coffee on the couch. So I gave it a what, a when, and a where. And then I'm going to talk about how to make it simple. So a reminder goes off on my phone every morning. My coffee is programmed to be ready when I walk into the kitchen, and my space is ready for meditating. Okay, that was example 1. Example 2 is, let's look at physical health. So the overall goal for physical health for this example, for this specific person, is I feel good in my body and have energy. So then I look at that next step of intentional actions that support that area of health. A regular workout routine. All right, so now I'm going to give it a what, when, and where to make it a priority. So I do a 10-minute Heather Robertson workout Monday through Friday at 6:30 a.m. in my living room. And then how to make it simple. I make it an event in my calendar. I have an alarm goes off as a reminder. And then I have my workout clothes and shoes ready to go each evening. Okay, example number 3. The area of holistic health we're going to focus on for this example is intellectual. So overall goal is to increase knowledge in areas that I feel interested in. That intentional action that supports that area of health is read 1 book a month. So I'm going to give it a what, when, and where. I read for 15 minutes a day every morning on the chair in the living room. How to make it simple. I'm going to set an alarm. I'm going to get up 15 minutes earlier than usual. I have my book by the chair in the living room, so my supplies are ready to go. Okay, so those were 3 examples of actual people that have said these with me. So I want to give you those tools to be able to do that yourself. So again, I'll just go over that. We're going to think of the area of holistic health. We're going to say an overall goal. So I really like to create goals of I feel whatever, however I want to feel in that area of holistic health. I feel good in my body and have energy. I feel calm. I increase my knowledge in areas that I feel interested in. Those were the overall goals for those 3 examples. And then we're going to set intentional actions. And this is going to be that specific action. And then we're going to give it that what, when, and where, because that is how we make something important in our lives. When it's just this vague thing that could happen anytime, it just doesn't happen. And then I want you to think about how to make it simple. So how can you make the area or the space ready? Using reminders, having your supplies ready to go. And then how to really make this work for you. Start small. I mean it. Start as small as you can. It is really common for people to, go big or go home or whatever. And they make these big goals that require these big actions, a huge shift in what you're already doing. And that can make it feel overwhelming, and it can just make it so it's just a lot harder. So start small and then build on it. So you're going to start small, and then you're going to have a plan to evaluate and check in with yourself if you are already, and then asking yourself if you are ready to add more. So setting a timer or setting an alarm for every maybe Sunday. So that's the time for you to evaluate, how has this new goal and intentional action going in my life? Am I ready to add more? And then have an accountability plan. So set an accountability plan up, whether that's with a person or with a coach like myself. That is a big role that I play as a coach, is helping people with an accountability plan. So figure out what that could look like for you. I would love to talk more with you about this and get specific on what's going on in your life. So schedule a complimentary one-on-one coaching session with me, and we can spend that hour getting really clear on your goals and then setting a solid plan. We can go through that step by step for exactly what you have going on in your life. There'll be a link in the show notes so you can do that and set it up on your own time. And I'd love to talk more with you about this. Thank you so much for joining me for setting holistic goals. And I can't wait to hear what you think about this. I'll see you next time. Be well. Thank you so much for tuning in today to the Real Life Wellness Podcast. To stay updated on my latest episodes and wellness insights, be sure to subscribe to the podcast and follow me on social media. If you have any questions or topics you'd like me to explore, feel free to reach out. I love hearing from you. If you could, please review or rate this podcast on Apple or Spotify to help more people learn how to make wellness simple.